How do we mitigate our damages for wrong actions? Hello everyone, I'm Thomas and welcome to my channel. I do educational videos focusing on the esoteric, and one of these things is the Tree of Life that you maybe have seen before, and this is an ancient diagram that, among other things, purports to describe our faculties of consciousness. It's got 12 different categories, 10 spheres, numbered 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then there is an applied sphere here called the abyss. And then there is a 0 category above the tree. 12 total categories, 12 faculties of consciousness. 10 is generally our survival instinct, our animal consciousness. This is kind of like our mammalian animal consciousness. This is what we get in the domesticated situation, where we're growing up in the home the first few years of our life, and we are highly receptive to our caregivers, and we pretty much memorize what they do and imitate what they do. So high receptivity, memory, and imitation. Then here at the A sphere, we have our kind of real world consensus worldview, paradigms, expert opinion. This is really our logical faculty and our belief systems. So they tell us, all the institutions and the establishment, they tell us what we're supposed to believe. And, if we want to promote ourselves into this A sphere, we believe what they tell us and we regurgitate it on all our exams. So we get the proper diploma, and then we go into our job, and then we just do what they tell us, what the belief system tells us, and we enjoy the path of least resistance, at least what we think is the path of least resistance, until it all comes crashing down eventually. But that hasn't really happened a whole lot yet. But so this is really our belief systems and our rational faculties. We rationalize the limited truths that they teach us here. The 7th sphere is for people who get into the A sphere, or at least sniff the A sphere, and they see problems with the A sphere. And so as a result, they move over to the 7th sphere and they use their imagination. This is really where this is the real world, so-called. This is the imaginary world. So this is where we have our imagination, our creative spark, our pleasure principle, our intuitive faculty, our inspiration. And those things all go together, and we propose new creative products, songs, poems, and also inventions that comment upon the A sphere in an attempt to improve upon it. So the 7th sphere is really the counterpart to the A sphere there. Our inspiration here at the 7th sphere allows us to kind of create a wedge where we can move up the tree toward the higher spheres. The 7th sphere inspiration is the 1%, and then the 99% of perspiration is needed to climb up the ladder to the higher aspects of the tree. The 6th sphere is right in the center, connected with everything, and it is where we are located. You are here, and you are here, and this is our free will faculty. This is our ability to pay attention and to make decisions. Unfortunately, at this point, right at the beginning, while we are paying attention down the tree. So we're paying attention to these lower factors down here, our conditionings, our belief systems, and even our animal consciousness. We're paying attention to those things. And so with our free will, our ability to make decisions, we need to be able to turn around our attention and focus our attention toward the higher aspects, the spiritual aspects of our lives. And that is usually quite unsettling, and it involves kind of overcoming a lot of our fears in order to do that. Okay, then we move up here to the fifth sphere. This is our sense of justice. And then this is our sense of natural law. So they correspond with each other. Our sense of the natural law is really due to being able to observe and to investigate, to experience, to experiment. And these things allow us to interpret reality. What is really going on? How does it all fit together? How does it interrelate? How do all these different things interrelate with each other? The Chinese use the word the Tao for what's going on here. Also, we call it a cosmology, or theory of everything, grand unified theory, or even an ancient holy book that purports to describe everything in the universe and how it all works together, how it's related, and what are the various forms and functions of things. And then this law is articulated here, it's enforced here. So this is the law of karma. As you sow, so shall you reap. What comes around goes around. And this is our sense of justice. We can we can tune into our karma and hone our sense of justice through that. But we have a natural sense of what is right and what's wrong, what's fair and what's not fair. Okay, then this also corresponds, fourth sphere also corresponds to universal love and universal language. Universal language being, things like body language and telepathy, music, music that goes right straight to your soul. So you don't really, you don't have to be educated in it. These are natural things that we have that we can learn through our own faculties and not be taught, or told what it means. Okay, then we have our psychic powers here at the Abyss. This is our ability to tune into and recognize omens, and then to be able to act upon the omens. The omens are kind of like the language that the universe uses to communicate with us, and we can tune into that, and then that's our psychic receptivity. Our psychic heat is our ability to have the courage to act upon it. Because sometimes we can recognize the omen, we can see, recurring numbers, we can see crazy coincidences, we can see, things that are uncanny, but we still have to be able to act upon it. So then we have at the third sphere, the third, second, and first sphere are our divine faculties within. The third sphere is omnipotence, all powerful, tapped into through sound synchronization. And then the second sphere is omniscience, all knowing, or wisdom. And this is really our ability to solve problems. And it's really tuned into through being able to shut down the mind, or at least to take the mind only on the basis of the sensations of it, but not the content. And then if we're not able to do that, because that's a highly advanced meditative skill, then we use the surrogate source of wisdom, or the surrogate elder, and that is the oracle, or the divination system, that is kind of like a more refined version of the cosmology, but it's a random effect. Pick a card, roll the dice, draw a lot, draw a cowrie shell, and at that time, in that random aspect, that is when the creator breaks through and gives you the message that you're supposed to need. So the oracle is really like the surrogate elder, or the surrogate wisdom. First sphere is omnipresence, all present, all at once, eternally. This is our deepest center inside of us, where we really intersect or meet up with everybody, everything else, because the one is at the deepest center of everything. So when we reach our deepest center, then we also reach everybody else's deepest center, and we're all connected. So it's a unifying sphere. And then the zero sphere is above the tree, and it is really what is part of the creator that we don't have access to. So this represents like the mystery, and also it represents nothingness. Okay, so that's kind of how the tree works, or at least how a sketch of how it what the correspondences are. And then what I've done in order to try to teach the tree more clearly is to be able to take the whole tree and superimpose it on each one of the spheres. So I break down each one of these 12 categories into its separate 12 categories. So that's 12 by 12, or a total of 144 fractal faculties, or mini faculties. And these, I think, are the stages of life. But the stages are not dramatic, but they're not chronological, but they're dramatic. And so these are all a whole set of different dramas that we go through as we move through life on our path. And I've got a list of those compiled of the 144 stages. And if you'd like me to send that out to you, just click the link below and I'll send it. The key to understanding the tree, I think, is really just to really memorize the diagram and memorize a basic short version of all the correspondences. And then you can really plug it in yourself into your own experiences. That's why I love the tree, is because it's not dogmatic. It delivers. It provides answers to things in your own life. It's not somebody telling you what it is. It's somebody telling you just a brief sketch of how each sphere operates, but then you place your own experiences and your own understandings into it. It's really just a mnemonic device, or an organizing system for what's already in your own head. And so what you should do is try to memorize the diagram, maybe draw the diagram over and over again. You can use a straight edge and a compass, but you can just do it freehand too. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just have all the numbers and the connections, and just put it on your refrigerator or your bathroom wall or whatever, so it kind of sinks into you through osmosis. And then gradually it'll get into your subconscious and your memory, and you'll find that all the stuff that's already in your head will organize itself according to the tree. And then you can really take off with it. So that's a lengthy process. It's not going to happen overnight. But if you watch my videos every day and just let it soak in, you don't have to really understand everything. In some cases, you don't even really have to pay complete attention to everything. Just try to let it wash over you, and you'll get great benefits from this diagram in your life. Okay, so I am doing videos, 144 separate videos on each one of those fractal faculties. And I'm rolling them out every day. And today we're going to be doing number 19. And that is, how do we mitigate our damages for wrong actions? Now we look at the tree. Number 19 corresponds to a ninth sphere thing, and it is the fourth fractal of the ninth sphere. So it's the fourth fractal in here within the ninth sphere. Okay, so as we said, the ninth sphere is about heightened receptivity, domestic consciousness, memory, imitation, and devotion to the family, to the household, to the growing up situation. But this is really in the first years of our life. And then the fourth sphere is about the universal law, tuning into the universal law, the universal love, and universal language. So that's what we have, the universal law within the ninth sphere, which within the domestic sphere, within the receptivity, within the memory and imitation. So this fractal is called remorse for transgressions. Stage number 19 is about beginning to recognize and regret the seeds, the conditionings of the wasteful and violent behavior that we learned and accepted in our upbringing. 12K BCE, Enki, Dr. X, his loving infusion into our species, into a human wife, not aboard conception, begets a Noah body. Dr. X's third upgrade of our gene pool, after primitive intelligence and after emergence from the jungle. Temporary conscientiousness. So we're more mammal now with a frontal lobe. As morals develop, as ethics develop, we will not let ourselves get away with transgressions. We must really feel bad by examining the other perspectives empathetically with sympathy. Remorse as a social emotion causes us to precipitate and shed some tears, melting the cold blood. A part of lesson learning. We must feel really bad, including a vow to avoid a repeat offense and make efforts to make it right again. Guilt is a prerequisite for remorse. It requires expiatory action. Shed some tears. Our blood is getting warmer, warmer than the blue bloods. A liquid conscience. The heart, no longer blind to the commission of violence and waste. We go briefly critical, briefly ethical, liquid ethics, while solid ethics are blind and will not correct themselves. Set a precedent on this issue so we will not continue to let ourselves get away with unethical activities as we become aware of them. Condensation, shed some tears for our devotion to an unsanctioned activity. Expiatory action through remorse. We don't want to go along with the bad joke at someone else's expense anymore. We don't want to shoot a rabbit in the backyard again. A bit of moral orientation, a sense of what's right. Conscience developing. We recognize that, whatever that was not right. Single jeopardy tipped us off. Shame on me, humble me, humility in the light of the Creator. Make our blood melt. We're not being too hard on ourselves. Just honest. We were wrong. We experience humility upon commission. And we make expiatory action. Or we take expiatory action to avoid a repeat offense. Okay with the powers that be, but not with me. Not as in late Rome anymore. A higher responsibility. We will not commit the act next time or whenever we finally get it. Empathy inseminated by remorse. Intention toward a spiritual, ethical being. Intelligence required. Potential with ethics. Having a heart starts with remorse. When we get it, we'll regret it. Guilt as a prerequisite. We are no longer blindfolded, now unblinded on that issue. We are slightly ethical. A sense of what's right, a primitive unicellular conscience. Ethical orientation. Our blood is getting warmer now. A step toward a spiritual, ethical being. Alrighty then. That is stage number 19, remorse for transgressions. And that is the fourth fractal of the the fourth fractal of the ninth sphere. And that is the video for today. And congratulate yourself and me for getting all the way through the video. Click the like button and click the link if you'd like me to send you the free list of 144 fractal faculties. And subscribe to the channel and share the video far and wide. And stay tuned for future videos from me coming up in the very near future. Have a beautiful day.